Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. Sorry, our electricity went out, and so the generator's running. There's some weeks where our electricity goes out at least once a day, and normally it'll go out once or twice a week, and so the generator will kick on automatically. There it is. Well, it's not automatically, we have to start it, but it'll kick off when the electric comes back on. But what I want to talk about is how justice is handed out after shit hits the fan and our three-man militias end up having to take the leadership. Now, this is really a difficult video in the way of trying to put this out in words. And the reason is the more extreme the situation is, the more extreme justice will be handed out. So I'm going to try to give it to you both ways. And okay, let's do it like this. After a tornado, the shit hits the fan. That's what I've been in tornadoes. The aftermath of tornadoes. The first one, I think, I was like 14 years old in Topeka, Kansas, and the tornado came right through town, and at that time it was one of the biggest tornadoes in history. And it came through town, and it just about cut the town in half. And it was about 4 blocks wide. And of course it took out all the electricity and all this stuff. And then, like I say, once it went across, when it went through town like that, you couldn't go from one side of town to the other, no communications. This was like, what, 64, something like that. And so there was confusion. There was no communications, no nothing. I mean, it was no utilities, but seeing it was a tornado, it was shit hits the fan, but it's going to be a temporary thing. So when you look at it like that, you deal out justice differently, and I'll give you some examples. And but the other side of the coin is when I was in Vietnam. That shit is the fan. War. I think war, in my experiences, war is clear on the other end of shit hits the fan. War is long term. Justice is really brutal. And it's scary just even thinking about it. Now, I was a little bit involved in the Guatemala's and Central America's revolution, and that's why I say just a little bit, and that's because I was just down here short term, and I could leave it and go back to the States. So, and I was only working with Pacific people under specific conditions. So it's not that I had to live it. Now, all three of those, and well, the Vietnam War and the Central America Revolution down here in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, those were the extremes. And then, like I say, the tornado. But the one thing they all had in common, I didn't realize it at the time, was three-man militia could have worked really well under those conditions. Now, the thing is, when you're under military control, when you're under military control, you are under military law, martial law. Martial law benefits the military, and the military is working for whoever. Matter of fact, in the tornado, we had martial law, and it was welcomed. It wasn't forced upon us, wasn't pushed on us, because we needed the military equipment to come in and help clear the roads and get the electric running back, running their lines and all this kind of stuff, getting the water back going and all this kind of stuff. Martial law was welcomed. I think it's, and you know, now I wasn't in Iraq, but it's the same basic thing. We went in as liberators, and then it didn't take long for us to become occupiers. And as liberators, what you do is you get the utilities back going, and you give security in the community. And we weren't able, I don't know about the utilities, but we weren't able to do the security. So that made us the occupiers. And that, I'm taking it for granted, if something like that, if we go into martial law in the United States, it will be politically motivated. It won't be like the tornado. In other words, we won't, even though we're going to lose our utilities, and we will welcome the martial law to get our utilities back going, and they're going to try to offer us security, it's not going to work that well. And then, in other words, the martial law will turn into occupiers. Now, I can't speak for martial law and how they're going to do justice. That's why I made the video, and I'm talking about how justice will be done through the three-man militia. Now, that doesn't really mean militia. Don't get three-man militia and militias working together. It's not. They're two completely different things. They can work together, yes. but they really are two different things. Okay. Using the three-man militia concept in the tornado in Topeka, it took probably about 3 days for them to get the roads open, and electric started going, telephone service, and all this type of stuff. Now, three-man militia in that particular type of situation is helping out the sheriff department, helping out the National Guard. They use the National Guard on something like that. That's how they can call in martial law fast with National Guard. National Guard are people, local people. They're easier to deal with. Okay, if we didn't have a three-man militia at that time, but if we did, if I was in that same kind of conditions now with a three-man militia, in the way of justice, in other words, looters would be held at the minimum.